This podcast is a safe place to share experiences and tackle issues related to mental health. It is meant not to work as intervention or replace any treatment option. Should you feel that you are suffering from any mental discomfort, it is necessary to seek professional help from mental health professionals.
Today, I'm excited to share with you one of the books that I have read called Don't Feed the Monkey by Jennifer Shannon. It is all about anxiety management. I will share some highlights of the book and hope it can help you or someone you know learn how to respond to anxiety wisely. Don't feed the anxious mind is a new and helpful way to deal with anxiety. You may have tried to control the anxiety in the past, but many of the things you tried didn't work. I'd rather face my fears and change how I act. Calming anxiety means taking control of your thoughts. You can do it, according to Jennifer Shannon. If you have anxious mind, which millions of people do, the anxiety mind is the anxiety that tries to control you every second of the day. The fear in your head is a steady stream of negative self-talk and what-if thoughts. The trouble is that the anxiety mind is very greedy. It's hungry and wants food. So you're constantly feeding it by feeding its tendency to love anxiety. You do this by keeping up the same kinds of action that you think are helping you deal with your anxiety. But in reality, they are making it worse. You are giving your worry more energy. The more na pinipigilan mo na hindi mag-alala, the more na natitrigger ang anxiety mo. The more na ina-avoid mo, the more na nag-stop ka, the more na pabalik-balik ang anxiety. And tanong, ano ba ang dapat gawin? Okay, always remember that an anxious mind never goes to sleep. It's always there in your thoughts. The more you try to fight it with anxiety, controlling skills you were probably taught in the past, the more determined it is to be heard. But if you work hard, you can control your fears. You need to realize that worry is not who you are. It's just a small part of who you are. Once you can separate yourself from the anxiety in your mind, you are halfway there. Think for a few minutes about how many hours you spend worrying. It's probably not 24 hours straight, so you can see that worrying is not your whole day. So worrying isn't all of you, it's just part of you. Okay, tandaan mo, hindi mo i-determine o i-define ang sarili mo na ikaw ay anxious person. Sabihin mo na ikaw ang tao na may anxiety, pero hindi yun ang definition mo, hindi yun ang identity mo. Have you heard around the world about 275 million people have anxiety conditions? Alam nyo ba, before pandemic, 2 out of 10 may anxiety. Pero ngayon, post-pandemic, meron ng nasa 5 out of 10. So, common na talaga ang taong may anxiety. When you have anxiety, you live in a state of fear almost all the time. Your brain keeps sending your stress hormones, which only make you feel more anxious. The brain is always looking for danger because it wants to keep you safe. Okay, remember that. Bakit ka nag-anxiety? Ang goal kasi ng brain mo is to protect you. The amygdala, which is small part, about the size of an almond in your brain, it sits at the top of the spinal cord that keeps track of everything you do and feel in your life. It's almost like your brain is looking for dangers that it needs to know about. When the threat is sensed, the brain sends out a steady stream of hormones to help the body deal with it. This is your fight or flight reaction, which gives you what you need to either run away from threat or fight it. Okay? So, lagi mong tatandaan, hindi alam naman ng brain yung situation mo. Na it could be kaya ka lang nag-anxiety kasi baka may naalala ka lang or nagbabiyahe ka, naramdaman mo, ang alam lang ng brain is may threat kasi naaalala niya yung naramdaman mo before. Tandaan mo, ang brain natin yung brain is there to protect you. to keep you safe. Okay? From there, you make two big mistakes right away. First, you misjudge the threat itself, and then you totally underestimate how well you can deal with it and how it makes you feel. That is why everyone tries hard to hide their anxiety feelings, so you use safety measures to get rid of the feelings. You put your life on hold to avoid danger. You're always looking for something that could hurt your health, well-being, or ability to live. Okay, so yun. Nakita nyo na because na-feel ng brain natin yung threat, meron siyang dalawang gagawin mo. Feeling mo talaga may danger, tapos i-underestimate mo yung kakayahan mo how to deal with this anxiety. Understanding this is a key step toward getting back control of your life and stopping anxiety from running your days. When someone has anxiety, they often make assumptions. Ano yung tatlong assumptions na to? First is not being able to handle situations with uncertainty, needing to be perfect all the time, and feeling that they have too much duty. So, ito yung mga nagpapa-triggers sa mga tao. Bakit sila nagkakaroon ng anxiety? Yung wala silang control sa situation, kailangan nilang maging perfect at kailangan lagi silang busy. All these three of these ideas are completely wrong. Okay? You can do well even when you don't know for sure what will happen. To be successful in life, you don't have to be perfect. And you definitely don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. Everyone is in charge of their own health, happiness, and well-being. Lagi mo i-challenge itong mga assumption na meron ka na nagkakos ng anxiety. When worry takes over, we need to fall back on the same old ways to deal with negative emotions. For example, if you worry about leaving the gas when you leave the house, you might check it several times before you leave or even go back and check it after you've left the house and gotten into your car. When you feel anxious about something, pay attention to what you do normally to calm down. This is called safety behaviors. Safety behaviors are dangerous in many ways. You might think they're helpful because they make you feel better for a little while, but in the long run, you're telling yourself that what you're doing is important. You're giving the anxiety thoughts more weight and making it seem more real. Ang anxiety behavior, ito yung lagi mong parang ritual, paulit-ulit mo siyang ginagawa na feeling mo kapag ginagawa mo siya, it will keep you safe. Yung gabi na, ilang beses mo nang chine-check yung door kasi iniisip mo baka may papasok sa bahay. So, pabalik-balik ka ng check. Nakakalima o 10 beses ka na nakaka-check. Or, yung pag feeling mo hindi mo na-check, may masamang mangyayari. So, ito yung mga the more na ginagawa mo siya, the more na tumataas yung anxiety alarm. In essence, you keep feeding your anxiety by telling yourself that what you're doing to avoid, control, or stop the situation is more important because the problem is dangerous, even though it probably isn't. Because of this, the cycle of worry keeps going. Always remember na yes, it is scary, but it is not dangerous. Yan ang lagi ko sinasabi sa client ko na naiisip mo scary siya pero hindi siya dangerous because anxiety thought yung nagsasalita nun. The circle of anxiety starts when you think there's a threat, whether it's real or not. When you feel anxious, you have to do something safe to calm down, which confirms the danger. The more you do it, the more you start to think about the threat. To break out of this cycle, you need to question the danger you think you're facing and stop using safety behavior. Try asking yourself, what am I scared of? What will be the worst that could happen? What would it mean for me if it came true? So, kailangan talaga ipaprocess mo to, yung mga question na to, in order for you to break that cycle. Remember that there are two main types of safety behaviors. First is behavioral and mental. Doing something like double checking to make sure the gas is off is an example of behavioral approach. A mental strategy is overthinking, studying things, or making lists so you don't forget anything. All of this makes you worry, and worry doesn't make you happy or keep you safe. So what you can do? Try making a list of the safety behavior you do every day. Once you list it down, test it, and ask yourself how much of your time you are willing to give up to feel better for a short time. Once you know this, you can make the necessary changes. Okay, kailangan mo ma-identify kasi bakit lagi kang anxious, bakit everyday kang anxious, hindi mawala yung anxiety mo. Baka nga finifeed mo siya. So it's about time na ilista mo ano yung mga ginagawa mong safety behavior. Kapag na-identify mo, kailangan mong para i-challenge yun. Ano yung ilang beses ko lang siya i-check o dalawa. Pwede mong i-record mo, na-check ko na, okay na. Kasi once you know that your safety behaviors plans are, you need to break them down and test them. At first, this won't be easy, but you can do it if you take the anxious mind and change it into something else. For example, if you need to be sure of everything to feel safe, change your way of thinking to, it's okay to be uncertain sometimes. If you have to do everything correctly all the time, tell yourself, I can make mistakes sometimes. This is called an open mindset. It lets you change how you act, deal with anxiety in a different way. It also helps you have a new experiences which are important because they give you new, more open mind, more power and meaning. By doing something, you make the link of your thoughts stronger. By challenging your way of thinking, you take away what your anxious mind needs to keep your worry going. Your new, more open-minded way of thinking won't get rid of anxiety for good, but it should push the override button that make you feel more in charge. Because of this, an anxious thought is quieted. So, napaka-importante talaga you challenge that negative thoughts. Like, kung sinasabi pa ulit-ulit ako na anxiety is there to protect us. Nagiging bad lang anxiety kapag napaparalyze ka na dahil kaka-overthink mo. So, what you can do is identify mo yung mga safety behaviors mo, i-challenge mo yung bawat isa para hindi mo na-feed. And then, kapag meron ka mga negative thoughts din na nagkakos ng anxiety thoughts, i-identify mo then and change it into a rational thoughts. When you learn to accept that bad feelings and uncomfortable events will happen from time to time, they lose the power over you, yung anxiety. Kapag nagkaroon ka na acceptance, unti-unti mo nang mababawasan ang anxiety mo. Welcome these feelings instead of worrying and giving in to the anxious thought desire to do something about them. Just let them be. You'll be going against the idea that something is dangerous and changing your brain to put it in a not dangerous file. Okay? Like sinasabi to sa mga clients ko na it's just 90 seconds lang ang anxiety darating sa body mo. The reason lang nag-stay siya the whole day is simply because you're feeding it with using your safety behavior or kaka-overthink mo. By listening to what your anxious mind is telling you for a second, pick out the main thoughts and giving yourself 6 steps. So, kapag hindi pa rin tumitigil ang iyong kaka-overthink at kakaisip, yung mga fears mo, ano ba ang kailangan mong gawin? Number 1, admit the trouble and see what it is. Ano ba talaga yung problem? Think of 4 things you can do that might solve the problem. Figure out what will happen if you do each thing. Choose the best one from the options. Evaluate it over time. Be proud of yourself when it works. The more kasi na pag ang situation, kapag ang anxiety thoughts sinosolve mo, humihinto siya. Pero kapag sinishield mo or parang binablock mo, the more na nagiging strong yung anxiety alarm. You will find that the noise in your head stops because you are taking steps steps to stop it. So when you hear the negative talk, just say, "Thank you, anxiety," and wait for it to get bored. It will eventually figure out that you're not listening. Anxious people often feel they need to be sure of everything in order to feel safe. It's important to know that life can be a little chaotic sometimes, and that's beautiful and fine. When something goes wrong, it's better to be open than to try to force it to behave in a certain way. Be thankful when things go well and figure out what to do when they don't. Okay? In conclusion, even though anxiety affects a lot of people, that doesn't mean you have to live with it and let it run your life. If you think you can handle it, you should change how you think and act. Your anxiety is caused by the things you do. If you stop doing those things, you see a big change. Of course, it's easy to stop doing them. If it were that easy, you would have gotten rid of your worry a long time ago. But with practice and time, you'll find that it's much easier than you think to break bad habits. Alam nyo, sa totoo lang na paglagi ko sinasabi sa client ko na challenge your negative thoughts. Lagang taga sasabihin nila, yes, mahirap. Pero if you keep doing it, masasanay yung brain mo, kaya mo nang i-challenge yung negative thought na yung mababreak mo yung cycle. Always remember to give yourself some credit. You're stronger than you think. Right now, you're letting your anxiety mind run your life. It makes you unhappy and makes plan for your future. Anxiety is just fear, and fear isn't real. It's just a feeling. There aren't many things in life that you can't get through or over. Even when the worst happens, which doesn't happen very often, you'll always find a way. Your worry is telling you that you can't do it and that everything will go wrong. But this isn't true. Everything will be fine. If you turn off that naughty, anxious talk in your head, you'll see how everything changes for the better. You'll be happy, calmer, and more sure of yourself. You will also be able to take changes when they come up. You don't have to be stuck in worry and fear all the time. You can get free, but first, you have to put that fear in its place. So, ayan. Thank you for joining me on Mind and on Mental Health, a CBT podcast. Until next time, keep turning those page and discover the story that resonates with your being. Happy reading, and remember, don't feed your monkey mind. Nurture your wise mind instead. Stay tuned for more insightful reviews and discussion and some of the most impactful reads in our next episode. Until then, it's goodbye from Coach I.
This has been Coach I on the Mind and on Mental Health CBT podcast. Reach out to me by the Facebook group Meant to Matter, Meant MEANT, and my Facebook account Aileen Evangelista Ang, Aileen AILEEN. I borrowed the quote from Les Brown. You ask for help not because you are weak, but because you want to remain strong. The hurt and pain you are feeling is temporary unless you choose to dwell on it. Remember, healing is a slow process. It is a self-realization, and it starts with you. This episode has been brought to you by Kids Hope Foundation, Inc., Life Coach Group Advisor, Inc., and Kids Journey Learning Center.